Okay, so we're going to do a beginner problem first. Then we'll do something more advanced at 4 o'clock Eastern. So I'll just start with a little bit of review here, which is that console.log is for printing things out. So when you see console.log, if you're not familiar with JavaScript, this is our print command. So when I run this, you'll see hello class down here. Okay, and these two slashes are for comments. So here we're console.logging a string. And strings are just a type that we use for text. Okay. Along the way, you can uncomment lines like I'm doing here. And then when you press run, you'll run that line. So here now I'm console.logging hello class, and now the number 9. So along the way, we're going to uncomment some more console.logs. Like for instance, down here, console.log x plus 8. When I uncomment this and run, what's going to happen? Please predict in the chat what's going to happen when I run console.log x plus 8. You guys got this? Okay. Okay. A few guesses in there. Any more guesses? Okay, looks good. Let's try it. 17. That's right. So what if I change to 2? Quotes here around the 8. What's going to happen now? Chris says 98. Daniel says 9 plus 9, 8. Javier, 98. Let's try it. Yep, 98. Sounds good. I'm going to comment this back out. So here we have an array. An array is a type we haven't talked about in these intro lessons yet. It's a list. So here we have a list of different animals: dogs, cats, fish, snakes, tigers, pterodactyls. Okay. So when I console.log pets, I should see my full array print out here. There we go. So what's going to happen if I console.log pets square bracket 1? Does anyone know about arrays? What will happen then? Cats, cats, cats. Let's try it. Okay, so how do I get dogs to print out? 0. Okay, let's try it. Cool. Dogs printed right there. So that worked out. Okay, what about console.log pets.length? What's that going to do? 6. Also 6. 5. Okay, it is 6. So why is it 6? It's because there's 6 elements in here. Now the tricky thing is there are 6 elements, but what index do we use to print out pterodactyls? 5. That's right. So it's tricky because even though the length is 6, the last position will always be, like Habib said, length minus 1. Yeah, Alice has it also. Yeah. See, -1. Let's try -1. Okay, undefined. So that depends a little bit on the language there. Alice, like in Ruby, I know that'll work for you. -1 will wrap around. In JavaScript, that's not working for us. It's undefined position. So you can even do this. You can say like, hey, I want pets. What if I do pets, square bracket, pets dot length minus 1? What element will that print out? That says pterodactyls, pterodactyl. Let's try it. Pterodactyls, that's right. Okay, so very often you'll see something like this when you're trying to find the last element in a JavaScript array. You know, the name of the array, square bracket, the length of the array, minus 1. I'm going to comment these back out. Okay, a new array here, movies, Dark Knight, Jurassic Park, Delaware's Praya. And what we want to do is create the ability to pick a random movie, okay? So we're going to start with some random functionality. If we were in Ruby or another similar language, there'd be a built-in method to do this in the array class. .sample in Ruby will do this. And you run it just like movies.sample. JavaScript does not have that functionality. Instead, there's a well-known collection of math functions that we're going to use together to pick our random elements, okay? So let's start with math.random. When I run this in console.log math.random, does anyone know what I'm going to get? It's kind of a trick question. Let's try it. Okay. So I did it 3 times, and these are my 3 results. Yeah, I think that's right, Beeb. It's a random float between 0 and 1. So what's a float? That raises the question, what's a float? Anybody? A decimal. Yeah, a decimal number. Yeah. Any number with a decimal, that's right. So when we have a number without a decimal, I'm going to call that an integer. And we have one that has a decimal, I'm going to say float. So it's similar terminology to math, but slightly different. I mean, float's used in math, but not everyday math. So we have 3 different numbers. We run again, we'll get 3 different numbers, 3 different numbers. They're always greater than 0, less than 1, okay? So I'm going to comment those back out. Let's try another math function, math.floor. So I'm going to uncomment out math.floor 12.1. When I run that, I get 12. So what did math.floor do? Rounds down, rounds, okay? Let's just double check whether it rounds or rounds down. I'm going to uncomment math.floor 9.9. This is rounded also. So we are saying rounded, but 9.9 becomes 9. Why? If we're rounding it, why would 9.9 go down to 9? It takes off everything after the decimal. So let's try an experiment. Instead of saying math.floor, you'll notice that there's some autocomplete functionality here. So let's make this 9.9. And then instead of floor, I'm going to say, we can go like this, math dot. And check it out, we have all these different functions we can use. Let's try ceil. Okay. I missed a parenthesis. Okay. So I get 9 and then 10. So what's the difference between line 32 and line 33? One goes up, the other goes down. Yeah, ceiling goes up. Okay. So if I said, if that's right, let me try 9.1 math.ceil. And yeah, I still get 10. Yeah, Beeb says, 1, it'll always be higher. So there's one situation where it won't always be higher. Let's try math.ceil 9.0. And sure enough, it gets 9. So almost every time, Habib, but not quite. You have to round up from something. There has to be some extra decimal that you're rounding up from, okay? So let's try math.round. Okay, so all those 3 exist. Math.ceil goes up, math.floor goes down, math.round goes to the closest integer, okay? Let's go a little further. Playing with random numbers. This is a tool people use a lot to get bigger random numbers. So I'm gonna, on comment line 36, what's the highest number that I could get from 36, 37, 38? 9.99. Okay, 9.9 is pretty close. And again, 9.67, 8.03, 8.5, 8.4. So what's happening here? What's the lowest number I could get? What's the range of numbers I can get here? (0.99 to 9.99). I don't know, Javier. I have a number smaller than 0.99 right here. I have 0.08. Yeah, I think B is right. 0 to 10, but we can't get 0 and we can't get 10. It has to be in between those two, okay? Because those two aren't floats. It's between 0 and 10. So this is a nice tool for getting a random number. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Like, you know, if you have 0.5, like you got 0.5 from math.random, you multiply that times 10, you'll get 5. You know, if you have 0.25, you know, you multiply by 10, you get 2.5. So it's just going to move everything up. So it's like we just rounded for getting between 0 and 1. It's just between 0 and 10 because we're multiplying everything by 10. We're just moving the decimal place over. Okay. Okay, so now we have some exercises I want you guys to do at the bottom here. If you're getting an error in your code, like nothing's running, just comment out these last few lines. I try to comment them out also. It's kind of an extra credit thing I hope to get to. But I want you guys on your own to try exercises on lines 40, 42, 44, and 46. So first you want to write some code to print a random number based on what we've just learned. Then write code to print a random number less than 5. And then write some code to round down 13. Then write some code to print a random integer less than 3. Okay, give it a shot. If you're watching the video after the fact, feel free to pause right now, try these exercises, and then come back to the video.
You can do that.
That's YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, when I post it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you meant you could do that live on right now.
No, that'd be magical. No.
I'd be like, wow, that's amazing. Zoom's got skills, man.
Someday. Pause real life.
Yeah, we do post these classes on YouTube.
Yeah, we should send the links out after the fact.
Yeah, I'll send them on the follow-up email.
Cool.
And you guys are allowed to talk. Yeah.
Sorry, could you send a link in the chat to the YouTube channel, please?
Oh, yeah. I'd love to.
Thank you.
Okay, if you have line 40 done, please paste your answer in the chat. Okay, that looks good. It's YouTube. Thanks, Nico.
You got it, dude.
Yeah, looks good, Leah. Looks good, Alice. Okay, so you're using math.random to create a random number. In your case, it's a number that is going to be multiplied by 10. That's fine. That was good. Any questions? If you have any questions on that first one, please send a question to Nico right now.
Or you can ask. Feel free to ask.
Well, I didn't want them to filter through you in that way, like we are.
Oh, okay.
It's a little more
Ask me.
Yes, chat Nico. If you're stuck on that one, and then we'll come back around and address it. Daniel, it's kind of up to 50. Looks good. Okay, so I'm going to say, yeah, it's just console, well, yeah, .log, math.random. You can multiply it by whatever you want, whatever. Okay, we want to write code to print a number less than 5, random number less than 5. So how we have to change what I have on line 41 on my screen to print out a number less than 5 each time. Okay, Chris says change it to 5. Leah says change it to 5. That looks good. Let's give this a shot. Okay. Cool. 2.8, 4.49, 2.8, 0.49, 4.55. Looks good. Okay. Now we want to be able to round down 13.4. This one should be easy for you guys. Math.floor 13.4. Looks good. Okay, looks good. Now we want to write some code to pick a random integer, no decimals, less than 3. So I want 0, 1, or 2 randomly. What do you guys think? Beep Scott, that was pretty fast. And you got Chris's guy. I think you guys have seen this before. Okay. Okay, cool. So, Habib, you have good audio?
I'm sorry. Sorry again.
No, Habib, I was just gonna. You want to? So I think that Alice and Leah and Chris all agree with your answer. Do you want to explain your answer real fast while I'm typing it in?
Sure. So math.random gives a random number between 0 and 1. I multiply it by 3 to extend the range from 0 to 3. And then I do the math.floor to set it down to an integer between 0 and 2. So 0, 1, or 2.
Yes, I have a mistake in mine here. Say math.random, so I'm multiplying by a function. You use those parentheses in JavaScript. If you don't, they'll kill you. Okay, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2. Looks good. Okay, so that can be a little tricky. So if you have any questions on that, please send them over to Nico, and we'll come back and address those. But this code is all over the internet for finding a random number. People are using this everywhere, okay? So you've probably seen this on Stack Overflow somewhere. We'll get some Stack Overflow points. Just look for a simple question. It involves randomness. Okay, so we want to write some code that prints a random movie from a movies array. Some of you guys remember, but we still have console. So we still have our array up here. If you remember, I'm just going to console.log it so we can see it. These are a list of movies. Okay, they're made up movies and they're inside an array. So I want to write some code now that's going to print a random movie from our movie array. Okay, so don't answer yet. Try it on your own. Okay, I'm going to try to print a random movie from the movie array. If you just dropped in, we're working on the assignment on line 49, trying to write some code that'll take our movies array and print a random movie from that array. I'm gonna move my console.log down there. Okay, we have any volunteers to work through this? How do you just post the answer? Okay. I think that looks pretty good, Javier. You want to unmute and talk about it, Javier?
Hello.
Hey.
Hey. So we're going to console.log. If we do movies.0, we'll get the first index. So, or if we do movies array movies of 0 or of 1 or 2. So basically, whatever is inside of the brackets is our number, and because our number is a random number between 0 and the length of movies, that's how we get any of those indexes.
So Alice is asking, will you ever choose the 6th movie? So I only have 3 movies in here, but you're saying will you ever choose the last one? Is that the idea, Alice?
Say it again, please.
Yeah, no. So Alice is saying, like, will this get 0, 1, and 2 in all cases? So first of all, let's run it a few times, see if we get Dark Knight, Jurassic Park, Dark Knight. Devil Wears Prada is the last one. So it gets all the 3 different ones. So it seems to work, but it's a little bit confusing. I gotta admit, Javier, this is kind of like correct and kind of gross style, right? Like, let's see if we can make this a little bit clearer for people who haven't seen the solution before. But I think this is good work by you to get the answer. So here's another way to view this. We can say, like, hey, length is movies.length, okay? And then random index equals math.floor math.random. So we did this earlier. We're just picking a random number. Okay. And then taking this array, looking inside at this randomly chosen index. So the way that Javier wrote it is all over the internet. I think that's totally right. It just makes it a little bit clearer for me, like what I'm dealing with. Yeah, maybe you just make this one 2 lines instead. Okay, something like that. Should still work. Let's run it. Yep, Jurassic Park. There we go. Questions on this? Okay.
Good question real quick. Is this a much
Yeah.
more like common pattern to write it in, like break it up into 2 lines as opposed to jamming it all on 1 line?
No, unfortunately, you'll usually see this as 1 line on the internet just because people are very used to this pattern, so they'll write in 1 line. I'm just a little bit against really long lines that call functions and functions and functions.
So it's probably like better practice to kind of like make it easier to read, because it's a lot easier to read breaking it up into 2 and kind of separating the 2.
Yeah. I think that value is valued differently across different languages. So in Ruby, there's a higher value on that. Python's kind of in between. JavaScript, it really depends, but because it's confusing to read JavaScript sometimes, some people have the opinion that you should just make things as clear as possible. I'm kind of more on that side. And some people are more like, well, we should just try to, put things in as few lines as possible, create code with as few lines as possible. It's technically like a little bit faster if you put everything on one line, but really with most modern frameworks, it'll take all your JavaScript and minify it for you. So not a big worry, but yeah, for style, I like it better like that.
Cool.
I mean, also for style, we would add like let and const for some of these variables and semicolons, but
Right.
you know, for teaching purposes, I like to stay away from that stuff for now in the intro sections. Okay, so we're going to come back to random in a second, but right now I have some extra code here, which we haven't talked about, with some HTML. In that HTML, I have two buttons. One is called console button, and one is called change page. They both have an onClick attribute. Does anyone know what onClick does?
It's an event listener. So it's technically listening for when the user clicks on the button that it's attached to. And then it'll.
That's right. That's exactly right. So here, we're going to run the following JavaScript when someone clicks on the button. So when I click on console button, I'll get what's up because that's what's in my JavaScript. So this is a function. This is new fat arrow syntax. So I put any arguments I have, my fat arrow, and then my one line of code. If you want to do multiple lines, then you do my message I have down below with curly brackets, okay? You'll usually see it written like const like this. Const in front of message or hi. But here it's not really, it doesn't make any difference because we're at the top level, at the global level, so we're not really scoping it. So I'm just gonna leave that alone for now. So this function, console.logs, and this function does something different. So let's try the change page button. Aha, you clicked. So when I click the second button, I get this big banner that says you clicked. So what happened there? Anyone can chime in.
It's an alert.
It's not an alert.
So basically, when you click on it, it sends you to the message function, and it's signing message to document, I guess the HTML document. Then it's looking for the ID, the element with the ID of message, and then it is assigning you clicked to the inner text.
Yeah, so even if you're, I think that's right, Chris. And I'd say even if you're new to JavaScript, thanks for that. Even if you're new to JavaScript, you can understand this holistically, which is that we are going to look in our document, get the thing with the ID message. So if we look in our HTML, oh, look, I have an H1 here that says ID equals message, okay? Then, after we get it, we assign it to this variable. And here, for those of you who are sticklers, is where I would probably say, like, hey, let's say let right there, when we declare the variable. But if you're not practicing JavaScript, don't worry about it. You can leave it. And then we say, hey, take that piece of HTML, change the text inside of it to you clicked. Okay? So at first, when I run this, there's nothing there because in my HTML, there's nothing inside there. But then, after the click, we expect the inner text to become this string. Okay? So when you go ahead, try changing what for me is line 62, change the text, and try it out on your own. Make sure it works for you. Okay, so now that you've tried it out on your own, If you have any trouble, please send Nico a DM. H1, what does H1 mean, HTML code? It means the biggest headline we have. So H1 is really big headline. H2 is second biggest. H3 is third biggest. H4 and H5. That's as far down as it goes. Cool. Okay, so now I want to change this. I want to combine this code with my previous code so that when I click the change page button, it's going to put a random movie on the screen. That mouse doesn't work. Okay, so we want to change our code on your own so that instead of showing you clicked, we'll show a random movie on the screen when we click change page. Give it a shot. Okay, so does anyone want to take me through what I'm going to do here? Any ideas? Beav seems to put it all in one line. Okay. Message that in your text with movies math.floor random. Okay, yeah. Okay, Daniel says non is what he came up with. So non means not a number. Okay. So Chris says I made the movie name a function. I guess you can do all that stuff. Let's do this a few different ways. So first, I'm going to try it similar to what we did before. I'm going to take movies. I can even take, yeah, we'll just say movies. So we still have it available because it's displayed, because it's declared above, okay? And then we're going to say like, okay, we want to get the length of there, and we want a random movie. So we can use these two lines basically, say like, hey, we're going to get the random index first. So look inside movies, get the length, multiply that by a random number, round down. That'll give us a random integer. Then we're going to say, okay, inner text will now equal movies. Which movie? The movie at the random index. Okay. That makes sense? Okay, so what Chris was doing, he said, hey, I think I can put that all together. So we could actually make a function, random movie equals, let's say, put this all in one line. Some of you guys have it. Let's try that. Okay, so that works. So what's happening here? Chris, if you mind unmuting, can you tell us if 52 is kind of like what you did?
Yeah. So it's basically what we had before, but condensed down onto one line. So it's still the function's the same. It's just calling a different random movie, but then we assign it or make it a function, and then all we have to do is basically call the function in the message.innerText area.
Yeah, there's a few complicated things happening here. One is that, we put this all back in one line again. So, it looks cool, but I think it's a little hard to read. So what if I just went back to this?
Yeah, all I did was replace console.log with the random movie, like function name.
Okay. So this here is going to break. Undefined. So here's a question for you. Why is this not working?
Is it because the random index is being called within the function, within the random movie function?
No, I think it's fine. We're using random index in there. I mean, I can scope it, but I don't think that really is kind of breaking anything. Yeah, still undefined. This is a concept we haven't talked about today, but if you have some JavaScript experience, you might know something missing here. The difference between curly brackets. It's not that there's no arguments. That's a good guess, Leah. There's something else missing from most functions here.
The return.
So that's a good guess. It's the difference between a fat arrow function on one line or a multi-line curly bracket normal JavaScript function. Return. Yeah. Yeah, Ha has it, Chris has it, Leah has it, yeah, return. So if you have a multi-line JavaScript function, you must return. If you have a fat arrow single line function, then there's implicit return, which means returns automatic. Okay? Okay, so now we're changing this to display a random movie. Okay, so those are the basics. Now let's do some hard stuff. I think I have a missing curly bracket here. Let's see, document page. Unexpected, maybe I have an extra curly bracket. Okay, cool. So we have rand color here. And right now, it gets the page. It's document.get by ID. It finds the page. So let's make sure that we have the ID page. We do. Okay. And then if you don't have the ID, you can always add it. Yeah. Then I'm trying to say like, hey, take the page, style, CSS text. And now I do something fancy called interpolation. So does anyone know what interpolation is? So interpolation is inserting something into your string, okay? So I'm inserting blue here. I'll just insert the string as blue. Okay, run that. Now, if I want to call the function, rand color, parentheses, run, and it turns blue. So that's not very random. We knew it was going to be blue, okay? So what interpolation lets you do is say this. Color. I don't have to use concert, but I would normally, in case you're wondering, but it's not a big deal. Oh, let's do that. Just say blue. Okay, so run this. It's gonna be blue. So first of all, if I don't have this line, then nothing will happen. When you write a function, you have to call the function if you want the function to run. A function is just a set of instructions that you can call later, okay? So I'm calling that function. Right now, the color is going to be blue. But I want to have random colors. So I'm assigning this to a variable, and then I'm interpolating that variable into here, and getting blue every time. What I want you to do is just take a few minutes and make your own or complete your random color function so that either because of, well, just, yeah, complete a random function so that it selects a random color. This could be from an array, this could be some other tricky method. We want the background to turn a random color when we run the code. If you're advanced and you think that's pretty easy, I want you to link that to a button so you keep running it over and over again, okay? Give it a shot. If you're an advanced CSS person, I'd like to see you use RGB here. Okay, if you got it, I'd like you to just send Nico a direct message thumbs up if you got it. Looks like no one got it.
Looks like no one got it.
Again, once you get it, send Nico a direct message thumbs up.
In case.
Kaya, is that far enough up? Chris says thumbs up. Non-direct message, but okay.
I got two. I don't got it.
Alice says she's got it. Okay, Alice, you want to explain your code or paste it in? So Katya, you can also reload the page, reload or just open another tab with my URL, and you'll get the updated copy anytime of what we've been doing. Okay, so you sent me this thing, Nika?
Yeah, send it to you on. Actually, I'll just send it to you. There you go.
Okay, cool. So let's take a look at this code. Okay. Oh, got confused about line breaks. That's okay, we'll fix it. Okay, so we're saying the colors are in array here. You get the length, get the, and let me tab this in here. Okay, that looks a little better there. Okay, so we have the colors in array, and then we have the length of the colors. Then we have random index length, math.random, and then we take that, we get from color. From colors, we get a single color. Let's run it. Blue, yellow, yellow. Oh, there's a deep pink. Purple, blue. Cool. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And if we want to create another button, let's create a new button here. We're going to close your tags. Okay. Color change. So on here, I'm just going to say onClick equals. I put my JavaScript, which is going to be what we call it, rand color. Okay, here's our JavaScript code. We're going to put that in quotes. And yeah, we'll just try this, run. Cool. Okay, and you can condense this. You can put this in its own function. And again, you don't have to go multi-line if it's just something that's like colors, that length, that's fine. The purple, yeah. Okay, that looks really good. That's a good job. Okay. So let's just try it a little crazy way here. Let me try make a second function. It's a little different than this. And we'll call this RGB. Thanks. And RGB equals function. So what if we copied most of this stuff? Let's see, all this spacing got a little messed up. This is more like this. All right. So I'm going to say, hey, we want the page, copy that stuff. But instead of doing our array, I'm going to say, let's use RGB.
I mean, it has some RGB stuff.
Oh. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna. So let's. So Javier, why don't you unmute and talk us through it while I'm typing up something pretty similar here? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I assigned a variable to color, and well, I didn't use interpolation. I used concatenation. So shall I say it, or you want me to share my screen?
No, just talk through what I'm doing right here. So,
okay.
So what is RGB? Let's start with that.
Okay, so the RGB stands for red, green, blue, and those are numbers that are anything between 0 and 255.
Okay, cool. So maybe I should call these actually instead of num1, num2, num3. Let's call it red, green, blue. Okay, cool. So then we want a random number. So what's red going to be equal to, Javier?
That could be equal to math.random parentheses times 256.
Okay. And then we'll copy that and do that a couple more times. And I don't know if it has to be an integer. Did you do integers or not?
I did, yes, I did math.floor, yeah.
Let's try it without it first and see if it complains. I mean, it might be fine. Okay. So I'm going to call this with RGB, and then instead of saying rand color RGB, math.rand, math.rand.
Random.
Yeah, wrong language. There we go. Pretty cool. We could, if you want to refactor further, you can link this one to the button, because this one's still on the button one. You can also make this into a function to pick a random RGB like number, and then just call that function in here. That'd be fine. That'd be pretty cool. But that pretty much wraps it up. So remember that, Nico, are you going to send out a survey this time?
Oh, yeah, I have it ready. Sorry.
Okay, so wait for that survey while Nico gets ready. The intermediate lesson is going to start in just like a couple minutes here. And for those of you who are interested, we're doing a web development course starting May 18th. The first week is free. So if you want to do that, just get to send Nico an email. Nico can put your email in there.
Yep.
And it's an intensive online course where we're going to go through Ruby, CSS, SQL, HTML, JavaScript, servers, API calls, AJAX, everything in 10 weeks. The first week of that is free. So remember to email Nico to reserve your spot in that.
Yeah.
And yeah, thanks for coming.
I had a quick question of why the CSS file is blank.
CSS file is blank. Well, I just didn't do any CSS. That's, yeah. If you want to see some CSS, I'm about to do the intermediate lesson. I'll just show you. Pull it over. Where is that? So I have some CSS in this one. So this is the one we're using the intermediate lesson. In that one, we do have some CSS. So you can totally do project without that much CSS. In this case, our CSS that we have is coming from the page.style.css text. That does not update your CSS file. What it does is, oh, hey, Patrick. What it does is it changes the CSS on the page. So, you know, your CSS is your styles, but you can always change those styles. You can change your HTML, change your CSS, change everything you want with JavaScript. It's kind of what frameworks like React do. Mm-hmm.
Cool. So you're going to send me that link so I can send it to the intermediate group?
Yeah.
I'm going to put it in the chat.
I'll send it to you in the chat. In case you want
put
me
it to
to use
everyone.
Oh, this one's random numbers. Let me put the, this is the intermediate one, sorry. Okay.
Thanks, Javier. Thanks. So you guys able to keep up? Anyone doing a coding marathon now? Gonna stay on for another hour?
I think I'll give it a try if I'm allowed.
Of
Yeah, sure.
course,
Go
of
for it.
course.
Go
You're
for
more
it.
than allowed. You're encouraged.
Thank you,
Great.
thank you.
I'm only able to make an hour. This is Victoria. Sorry.
That's okay, Victoria.
That's okay, Tor. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for hosting.
If you're sticking around for the next hour, please take a look at that link. Make sure it loads okay.